Ghanaian, former Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, and he's going to be our guest via the telephone. President Weah finally submits the national envelope calendar year 2024 at US 625.5 million, but House sends to 55th legislature. The budget setback. Honorable Speaker and members of the House of Representatives, while this budget is a reflection of the programs and priorities of the outgoing administration, it should not be unexpected that the incoming administration may institute measures to tweak, recalibrate, or even recast the programs and priorities herein to indicate policy change, hopefully in the spirit of continuity in governance. George Mane Weah, President of the Republic of Liberia, the back page of the front page Africa newspaper. Liberian star Leon Sullivan Taylor wins top scorer in Bruneian Super League 1. Thank you, Leon Sullivan. Continuing to fly the flag high as we are continuing to fight back here to make Liberia a better country and be, put it squarely, a wholesome and functioning society. Condemning the menace of mob action in Liberia, a call for urgent intervention. That's the editorial of the front page Africa today. Let's get into it. So a couple of days ago, we've been talking about this issue of Liberia forming part of the just ended UN General Assembly. Unfortunately, there was a session because according to the foreign ministry experts and foreign policy experts, they've been sharing their thoughts with us that every session that you people go to at the UN General Assembly, there's a resolution that will come out. It's either maybe resolution on abortion, or against abortion, or so on, depending on a particular resolution that you people may be voting against or for. All right. So in this case, Liberia participated in this particular session, and it was about ceasefire in the Israel-Gaza war. Unfortunately, to President George Weah's dismay, which he called for the Ministry of Information or Foreign Affairs to reverse that vote. It sounds, for me, I like to put things simplistically. You went through the election process and you voted. Let's say October 10 election. Maybe that may not be too simplistic because diplomatic language is a different language altogether. So let me not bring this my simplicity to this conversation. But without wasting more time, let's get to the clip and hear from the House's what President George Weah has to say concerning this issue. But according to the information, as I was putting it, somebody voted misrepresented Liberia, from the words of the president, misrepresented Liberia, thereby voting in favor of war against Israel, in favor of war, all right, involving the Israel-Gaza war. So, I mean, the president was taken aback. He said, I'm a man of peace. I've never supported violence in my country. How can somebody representing my government be voting in favor of war? He said, that person is not a person of peace. So let's listen to the president first. We'll read the press release from the Ministry of Information. Then we take a clip from former Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister Elias Shonen. Take that less than 2 minutes clip from him. Then we put him back on the line to ask him some specific questions. And you too, the public, you're going to be invited to join the conversation, maybe ask some questions, because I'm going to try as much as possible to keep him around while he listens to some of you people making your points on the program this morning. But let's go for it. Let's listen to the president first.
Few days ago, I've been hearing George Weah voted for war. And I walked away to listen keenly. But before I speak on that, and the foreign minister is ready, I just want you to know that the Bible is real. The Bible is real. There's golden rules and perception of the gospel of Matthew. In everything, do to others what you will have them do to you. This rule of honor monitoring of the Christian duty to his neighbor, his state, and the fundamental ethical principles. I don't say you don't care about your own behavior and you don't have principles. But those that have principles, when they give you an authority, whether you let them now, you have to carry on the instruction. One, the one who voted for war is a Liberian that don't believe in peace, security, and human life. It's not the president. And the reason I'm saying this, but the president did not know. Because when you try to sabotage people, you got to look around first to see whether there's a way. If you force a way, of course, those things will come up. I went to the state of Israel, visited my good friend. We spoke lengthily, and I left. I came back to Liberia, boom, unexpected attack on the state of Israel. We've been monitoring to find out what the world will do so we can make sure we come to peace.
Amen.
And diplomacy. And on November 4th, I wrote a letter to my friend as a brother for the innocent lives that have been taken, whether both from the Hamas area or from the Israeli area. I wrote a personal letter, brother, I know it is wrong for them to attack you, but you have power. You are stronger than the people that attack you. Those that attack you, they don't even care for the young child. That is the reason. So for the sake of humanity and for the young children that died to be saved, exercise restraint.
Amen.
Let us do diplomacy. That letter was sent to the Israeli embassy, and I'm sure my friend received that letter. Because we are good friends. I called the foreign minister of Liberia on December 12th. There's a vote for war and peace and diplomacy. I would have George Weah, President Weah. Now, I called I don't want you to clap. Those that are just going to hear the order, I want you to listen, not clap. I don't want you to clap because this is now pageantry. This is important thing we're talking about. Spoke to the foreign minister, how are we going to vote? We're going to vote for diplomacy. We're going to vote for peace. And I remember I mentioned to the foreign minister, if the entire world gets together for diplomacy and peace, I cannot be left out. Because I'm the former peace ambassador for the United Nations. And because I work with the United Nations for peace, this time around, it's not a vote against America. It's an appeal and a vote for the United Nations and the rest of the African country for peace. I'm going to ECOWAS, AU, in all of my speeches, I spoke against unconstitutional mandate and the rule of law and civility. I have no interest. My interest is humanity, to save people. I complain about the war in Liberia. I brought people to Liberia for our war to stop. There's no way I can call for war in other country. Even if I don't know about the war, the only thing I can do is to beg. Say no matter what happening, there's ceasefire. A wicked person in the embassy on November 4th, On the 12th to vote, that person, whatever the date, that Liberian have voted for war is a wicked Liberian, and God will not spare that person. Every innocent life, young people left that they taken in that war because that person voted. They will also feel the wrath of the two living God. Now, why they don't know? This is conventional. We going back now, they voted wrongly, we're going to fix it. We're going to fix it. And our vote will be with the vote of all countries that call for diplomacy and now war. Whether or not you are doing it because you believe that you are living now, begging your negative image, you are wasting your time. And I want to say to all of Nigeria, when they give you a job to do, you have to make sure that you do the job in the interest of this country. Even if you want to sabotage me, remember it's Liberia you're voting for, not for George Weah. So some of you got to make sure it's a country that is promoting, it's not individual. So the person that did that, they did not do harm to me. They are doing harm to the country and the nation. So the foreign minister there told him you have to rescind that. Because there's no way our George manager, but we will make sure that people go to war. And then while we were starting our war, while we were fighting our war, we start.
All right. That's President George Weah, outgoing President George Weah, George Weah of the Republic of Liberia. You listen to him there speaking at his church at the Foke Clone Dirada Family Fellowship there on the Rabas International Highway, responding to the information that reached him that having discussed with the foreign minister, I mean, the information is kind of, it's not scanty. I don't want to term it that way, but there's a little complexity, or maybe someone is trying to push somebody under the boss. Either the president is pushing the information minister, that the foreign minister or the person that voted under the boss. But this is government, so your boss cannot be wrong, according to some of the things that we've heard. So whether the president was aware of the voting or not, and later he was advised that your country voted wrongly or so, that is not something for us to dwell on, actually. But he's particular, he said, his government is going to rescind that vote. Now, what is my concern? What is my concern this morning on the show? I'm concerned about diplomatic language, all right? How these people go about communicating their messages, their ideas out there when they get to these functions, all right? Say, for example, Matthias is representing Sky FM at this particular area, but Matthias went there and misrepresented Sky FM, meaning when he went to represent Sky, there was no discussion with Martin Brown, there was no discussion with T-Max, there was no discussion with Julius, who are all, directors of various departments here, princess or so, all right? So he went there and just took a decision. So he comes back, there's a backlash, or there are backlashes coming back at the institution. I mean, what is the appropriate way to handle it? Coming outside, exposing the person, that's one. Another thing is that saying that I told this person to do this, they did. Then another thing also, but whether it's something that the government holistically should just take responsibility and say we will fix what the error that was made. Maybe that was just a human error. All right, even going to the point of cursing the person that because innocent lives are being taken from Gaza, and the Israel-Gaza war, that person is also going to die. A couple of things to look at. But maybe let's look at the substantive. That is, whether it's possible for Liberia to rescind this particular vote. It's an interesting, it's an important question. But let's read what the Ministry of Information has said. Yesterday, the Ministry of Information released a statement to that effect. And it says, Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs and Tourism, Office of the Minister, December 19, 2023, GOL, or Government of Liberia, statement on UN Gaza ceasefire vote for immediate release. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has been mandated by His Excellency George M. Weah, President of the Republic of Liberia, to rescind Liberia's negative vote of December 12, 2023 at the United Nations General Assembly, UNGA, that rejected resolution A ES 10L.27 at the United Protection of Civilians and Upholding Legal and Humanitarian Obligations, ceasefire in Gaza. This is the resolution. The Liberian Foreign Ministry has therefore ensured the reversal of the negative vote through the appropriate channels at the UNGA and registered a new vote in favor of a ceasefire in the Gaza, thereby joining the 153 countries who had earlier voted in favor of the resolution for a ceasefire in the Gaza war. In his mandate to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, President Weah made it emphatically clear that he has always stood on the side of peace across the world and has spoken of its indispensability at several international meetings and assemblies, including the United Nations General Assembly, as well as through diplomatic engagements. The government of Liberia clarifies that the decision of Liberia's diplomats to vote against the UNGA resolution calling for a ceasefire for a cessation of hostilities in Gaza between Israel and Hamas did not get the acquiescence of the president, who is the chief architect of the country's foreign policy. The government of Liberia recalls that long before the vote, His Excellency George Manuel Weah, President of the Republic of Liberia, made a passionate appeal in a communication to the Prime Minister of the State of Israel, His Excellency Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, for the exercise of restraint and consideration for civilians who are the real victims of the ongoing crisis, and requested for a humanitarian fall in the armed hostilities to ensure the delivery of relief while allowing for diplomatic settlement. The letter from President Weah to His Excellency Prime Minister Netanyahu was dated November 10, 2023, and reviewed and received by Her Excellency Madam Shomit Sofa, Ambassador Extraordinary Plenipotentiary of the State of Israel, resident in Accra, Ghana, and accredited to the Republic of Liberia. The government of Liberia says, while it supports the right of the State of Israel to defend and safeguard its territorial sovereignty and protect its citizens against Hamas and any other antagonistic force, it has always been concerned about the humanitarian consequences of war in Gaza. The government of Liberia reiterates its call to the warring factions or parties to cease fire and allow for the delivery of critically needed aid and services for the sake of humanity to those affected by the war, and to commit to ending the armed conflict. The government of Liberia also reiterates its call for the immediate and unconditional release of all the hostages being held by Hamas associated with the Gaza war. Signed, Lejohu Reni, Minister of Information, Republic of Liberia. So let's get one word, two words very important here. Or maybe we can look at a phrase or maybe a paragraph. The Ministry of Information said that the Liberian Foreign Ministry has therefore, having been instructed by the President to rescind the vote, has therefore ensured in the past, has therefore ensured the reversal of the negative vote through the appropriate channels at the UNGA and registered a new vote. So it ensured and registered a new vote in favor of a ceasefire in the Gaza. So Liberia, according to the Ministry of Information, is now part of 153 countries that, voted in favor of the resolution for a ceasefire in the Gaza war. So having listened to the president, they went right ahead and followed the proper channels to cast that vote in favor of ceasefire in the Gaza war. But let's listen to this diplomat. He's already in the papers. Folks are quoting him and thing. But we got an excerpt from some of the things that some papers have written about him concerning his position as a former deputy minister at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, what his take is on this subject matter, whether it is possible for Liberia to rescind her vote, having cast it already in this particular resolution, whether people will have to convene again, all right? The UNG has to convene again to say, oh, these people voted, but they said their vote, they're not satisfied with it, so they would like for us to come back together and sit down and have a discussion and give them an opportunity to rescind their vote and cast a better one. Or whether they can just go through some proper channels and say, you know what, this is no longer our decision. This is now our decision. So you can just insert it that we did not vote against ceasefire in the Gaza. How does it work? Let's listen to former Deputy Foreign Minister Elias Shoneyen, and subsequently to get him on the line as well to provide further details of this critical subject.
My view on this matter is that, in general, once a country has cast its vote at the United Nations General Assembly, it is considered final for that particular session or resolution. The UNGA operates under the principle of sovereign equality, and member states are entitled to one vote each. The voting process typically involves a majority of member states expressing their support or opposition or abstention on a particular resolution. While there may be discussions and negotiations leading up to the vote, once the votes take place, it is considered binding for that session. The outcome of the vote reflects the collective decisions of the member state at that moment in time. However, it is essential to note that diplomatic dynamics are complex, and countries may engage in ongoing discussions and negotiation, consultation, whatsoever, even after the votes. However, but in summary, I would say that while diplomatic discussions may evolve, the former recorded vote at the UNGA is generally considered final for that session. Any changes in a country's position, like in the case of Liberia recently, would typically be reflected in subsequent resolutions or discussions rather than altering the outcome of the vote that was just taken recently.
And a decision in the case of Liberia recently would typically be referred or registered in future outcomes rather than scratching out, in my words, rather than taking this thing out completely. I mean, this is a diplomat, all right? He was former deputy minister at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Elias Shoneyen, very, very, very smart big brother. But I will ask some specific questions concerning this. Julius, do we have Mr. Shoneyen on the line now? Well, folks, welcome to the program 50/50 on Sky 107.1. If you're just joining us today, we've decided to look at this Hamas Gaza UN Gaza ceasefire vote from a whole different perspective, bringing in an expert to give us some information on how it's done, what can be done, where the error came from, and what should have been done. It's good that we have him on the line, Mr. Elias Shoneyen. Thanks for accepting to speak with us at a short notice. Welcome to 50/50.
Thank you very much, Matthias. It's my pleasure being out here with you this morning.
Welcome. All right. You listened to the president. I believe you've read the release coming from the Ministry of Information, representing the voice of the government of Liberia. Mr. Shoneyen, the statement says that the government has already gone ahead. In fact, it has already reversed the vote and registered a new vote in favor of a ceasefire. But listening to your claim, you said it's highly impossible for one to erase that at this moment. What are we missing in these diplomatic jargons you people are playing with?
Firstly, I will say that the president was probably misinformed, because it's embarrassing that those who support the president in promoting our foreign policy will allow the president to make such a statement, because they should have known better, because they are the technicians. The president is not expected to be the technician. That's why he got his different sector institutions that's supposed to guide him and provide support, but for him to speak on. So speaking to that issue, I was a little shocked because I think it's very elementary that anyone would know that once a United Nations General Assembly vote is taken and collectively an outcome is read, it's done. It's done. Especially 1 week after the vote has been announced to the world, we all know the results were really clear, and internationally, 153 countries voted for ceasefire. 23 countries abstained, and 10 countries voted in favor. And Liberia happens to be one of those 10 countries, and the only country from Africa so far.
According to the statement, from the Ministry of Information, it states that Liberia is now part of the 153 countries that voted in favor of ceasefire and peace in Gaza. Is it a misrepresentation of the fact? Because from what I'm hearing from you is that initially, even before the president could come up with a decision of rescinding the vote cast in favor of Liberia regarding this issue, there were already 153 countries. Is that correct?
Absolutely. It's been 153 countries from day one after we voted against. And we are counted among the 10 countries. And look, I'll tell you, Matthias, I'm angry a little bit, to be very honest with you.
Why? Why be angry?
And the reason I'm angry, we can't be using our country as a toy. This is completely ridiculous. Particularly other members of the international community are here. They are following these events. They are following these sequential happenings on the ground. And it makes the whole country to just look stupid. And that's unacceptable. I'll be honest with you here. I've never spoken on any matter of diplomatic issues since this administration took over. And I believe the administration will try their best to do what is required. And there will be every now and then some errors. But if you make an error and you continue to push that error and try to misinform the public, then that is a credibility issue.
So how big is this error? What damage does it, cause to the image of the country?
I will say this. When it comes to voting at the UN, it depends on where the country sits. If you vote and you believe in what you vote, then obviously it's not an error. But in this case, clearly the government does not believe in the way it has voted. So obviously that presents the case of an error. And if that's the case, then the question is, how do you remedy it? And we can remedy it in many other ways. Many other diplomatic efforts and initiatives can be taken to, from some kind of a remedy. But if you start to misinform the public, giving the impression that 1 week after you were able to rescind your vote at the United Nations General Assembly, that's false and misleading. It's false, and this was not the vote taken on this Gaza-Israel war was not the first taken. We all know that the first vote taken was done on October 27th, and 121 countries voted in favor, 14 countries voted against, and 14 countries abstained. And I thought amendment was made to the text of the resolution because there were countries that voted against because sometimes for one line that they think needs to be changed. And so they went back, brainstormed those that tabled the resolution. And after brainstorming, some countries' needs were met in terms of requirement as to what they wanted in the text. And the vote was reintroduced again early this month, I think on the 7th or so.
So an individual country cannot just stay at the comp of their offices in their respective country and send information to the committee of the UN General Assembly and say the vote we cast a week ago, we no longer support that idea that we supported when we had a chance to vote. Therefore, we are changing that decision to this one. It doesn't work that way. Is that what you're saying?
Matthias, this one is common sense, just common logic. Our session was held for a particular purpose.
Right.
That is to discuss, to debate, and to decide on a particular resolution. And that session was concluded with 150 countries voting for the resolution, 10 countries voting against it, and 28 countries abstaining. And that session was closed. Means that it's over. The session was closed. It was adjourned. Means it's over.
Right.
And so, as I said, there are other remedies that can be explored diplomatically, and the government needs to consider that. About trying to misinform the public that it's possible to rescind a vote taken a week ago is false. It's not true. And as I said to you, I don't blame the president one bit, and I don't think that anyone should try to criticize him, because I think he was just misinformed, and his technicians should be the one taking responsibility for this. Yeah.
So, what the way it's done? I mean, I'm looking at this thing from another angle, because the president said he had a conversation with the foreign minister prior to this UN General Assembly, and so he's sort of presenting the information out to the public that the foreign minister, whether he forgot or disrespected his decision to vote in favor of peace. But generally, how is it done? Is it something that the foreign ministry has some conversation with the president and all cabinet ministers decide on the decision of the country before going to that particular, UNGA?
Normally, whenever there's a major vote, as this one, the Gaza-Israel resolution to be taken, our permanent representative at the United Nations will advise the foreign ministry appropriately. And the foreign ministry would then, that particular information will go to the Bureau of International Organization, because that bureau is the bureau that got the hardcore, very informed technicians that handle all issues of international organizations. So clearly there will be technicians in there, experts in there who have been following the Israel-Palestinian situation for a while. And then, because it's an issue of the Middle East as well, the Bureau of Afro-Asian Affairs, which is in charge of Africa and Asia, will collaborate with the Bureau of International Organization under the supervision of the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, who also will bring in what we call the Policy Advisory Council at the Foreign Ministry. The Foreign Advisory Council consists of former ambassadors, very respected and experienced former ambassadors who have reached retirement but yet got strength and better requirement to still perform. And they got history, because they got history as to how Liberia has been performing in these kinds of matters in the past. So that committee, that whole committee that I just named, would get together and make a determination looking at all of the critical issues, all of the negative and the positive, and how to vote and what do we benefit as a country for voting, what's our principle, what's our policy, how does it affect our foreign policy, and all of the different implications will be discussed and determined. And after it's been determined, the president will be advised appropriately as to what the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has decided. And then they will advise the president, and the president will give his opinion, as to whether he's got other, some information he got that the committee didn't have. He might bring that to bear. Otherwise, he would accept it and approve it. And once it's approved, then the Bureau of International Organization will then write on behalf of the minister, giving directive to our permanent mission. Otherwise, the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs may do it, or the minister himself may do it. But at least that will be the foreign ministry position, and that's how the position will then formed.
So I'm looking at the president's position on the matter. He spoke at the Fokeklon Jirade Family Fellowship Church there on the Rabas International Highway, and then at the same time, the Ministry of Information followed up with a release and thing. I'm looking at the two communications. The president stating that he was not, he told the foreign minister this and all of that. You're giving us a whole lineup of how this whole diplomatic engagement works. Because for the president to say that he instructed the foreign minister, for you're saying that there must be, first of all, a technical committee comprising of professionals that will sit down and analyze this problem, putting Liberia's interest in it before it reaches the president, that this is what we have discussed and this is how it should go based on professional expertise. Is it that the president is not in charge? What would you say? Is it that he's not in charge or he's been misled by people?
Let me give you one example.
Right.
I recall when I was at the foreign ministry, as deputy foreign minister, we had an instance almost like this.
Right.
Wherein there was a particular vote wherein decision was made on that vote. And I felt that the decision was inappropriate and it was going to hurt Liberia, like Liberia's image. So fortunately, I became acting foreign minister at the time because the minister had traveled. And then when I became acting foreign minister, before I got the information as to what decision, and when I got that information, I was like, no way, we can't do this. So because historically, I know how we've been voting on that particular issue, and the circumstances and factors had not changed.
Mm-hmm.
It was still the same. So why should we change different? Why should we vote differently? So I remember I had a conversation, and before we did that, we contacted one of our allies who was very deeply concerned with that vote, and we established contact with that ally. And so the ally said, look, we're going to be voting this way, and this is the way we always been voting. We just want to be sure that this matter is not a really, really important matter to you. And the ally said, oh no, that issue comes every year. It's like a recurrent thing that happens every year, and the vote seems to be the same outcome.
Right.
So it's not something that we take very seriously. So you can vote that. And we voted. And after a conversation with our ally. You know what I'm saying? And everybody was happy. Our ally happy because the vote was not something that hurt them. So there are, when it comes to the question of diplomacy, there are so many moving parts that should be happening at the same time, to make decisions as to how our country acts internationally.
Right. I'm going to leave you shortly, right? But before I do that, this is something very important, and a new government is about to take over in January, and this government is leaving. This era will spill over to, in fact, it is the government of Liberia that took the decision, not an individual. So what can the Boakas regime do with this situation? Because maybe at this moment, the Israelites are not offended yet because they're busy with their crisis. But in subsequent time, maybe they may start to, who knows, they may start to pull some diplomatic, strings and all of that, clipping some wings in terms of negotiation of whatever matters that may concern Liberia. What can the incoming administration do to soften the ground for future interactions?
I cannot speak for President-elect Boakas' administration. It's still pending, and we don't yet know clearly what the foreign policy agenda of the new administration is going to be. So it will be irresponsible and a little bit naive to try to preempt what the foreign policy agenda of the new administration will be.
Okay, what advice would you leave with President Weah and his cabinet, given this matter?
I will advise that they just abandon all of this public stunt that is going on right now. I think it's just a public stunt because it's not going to change anything, and all it's going to do is to embarrass the president and embarrass the country generally, the image of the country, because it gave an impression that we don't know what we're doing. And we're doing all of these things in the public, making all of these press statements that are so flawed. And we, the government thought it was a mistake to have voted the way they voted. And at this point, much cannot be changed in terms of votes, but there are other diplomatic interventions that can be made. They need to figure that out. They need to turn to that and figure that out, how they can engage diplomatically and explore other options that give a sense where Liberia truly stand on this matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much. He's Minister Elias Shonayan, former Deputy Minister at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. My name is Matthias, and you're listening to 50-50. We'll be right back after this break.
After being in the business for more than 20 years, Uptown Garage has all it takes to make your car work best for you. Uptown Garage has brought in all sizes of new quality tires. We also have the efficient and long-lasting Uptown batteries. Uptown Garage has also brought in a state-of-the-art 2022 upgraded diagnostic machine that can easily detect any problem with your car. Don't worry, we can fix it for you. Is your car having any electrical problem? Well, Uptown Garage has a professional electrician from Ghana who is up to the task of programming and solving all of your car electrical problems. Uptown Garage is at the intersection of Broad and Nelson Streets with the Uptown Spare Parts Store on Broad Street side. We have our garage and new showroom at Rehab at the junction of President Weah's residence. For original spark plugs from Japan, oil filters, engine oil, and everything you need to get your car working perfectly, come to Uptown Garage. We give 1 month warranty. We also provide a tow truck free of charge if we are the ones to work on your car. But we can also tow your car anywhere for a fee. Contact Uptown Garage head office on 0777 553317 or 0886 553317 or our rehab branch on 0770 902865. Uptown Garage, your 100% Liberian owned, is here to put a smile on your face.
But when you won't hit me with your keke?
You get come, man. Let me drop you some more. The way you just sweating, say.
Oh, look at it. Man, long time, but they also not easy. Oh, the way you trapping me, the Lola, you finish getting your reporting money for today. Oh, make sure you give me small tea.
Reporting money? That my own secretary. I've been depositing my money small at Ecobank Express Point. In fact, let me give you the G's. Ecobank about to do raffle job very soon for people to win the Unse Keke or the Upempe.
I understand. Oh, explain the whole thing to me about raffle draw.
Listen, my girl. All you have to do is just open your own Ecobank Express account or your saving account to be part of this raffle draw.
Well, I already got Express account. Oh, I was even planning set to open one savings account. So what's in now?
Look at all. Give me not small. You do Abu. You can deposit your money in any of them. Listen, any amount you get, just deposit it. You must have a minimum balance of at least $5,000 Liberian dollars or USD $50 in your own account to be part of the raffle draw.
Okay, so I can go to my deposit now.
They were easy. Tell me your deposit at any Ecobank Express Point across the country.
But not bad, oh. In fact, just drop me to that next junction, yeah. They got one Ecobank Express Point right there. Let me go deposit a small money while I get in my purse. Oh.
Indeed, Ecobank is here for all. Just visit any Express Point today to make your deposit and stand a chance to win your own Keke or your own pen. Terms and conditions apply. Ecobank, the Pan-African Bank.
Another new thing again. Ecobank, I've been bringing you enjoyment again. This is a mission that we already accomplished.
And that's right. Welcome back to the program 50/50 on Sky 107.1. Let's join you now, members of the public, and let's have a conversation. The numbers are pinned on our social media page. Those of you following us, if you're a social media user and you want to follow us online, yes, you can join us on Sky Communications Liberia Facebook page. But at the same time, drop your comments there. We're going to read them out for you. The numbers are also pinned on the screen. You can call us from overseas. We're going to take your call. Call us on those numbers, 0777 700 995. That's 0777 0777 221 223. Let's hear from this first person on the line. Good morning. Good morning. That person left the line, but call us on those numbers, 0777 107 0777 221 223. Are the numbers you can call us on to participate on the program. Good morning.
Matthias, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Let's hear you.
My name is Da Plateau, and I call you from District 10. I am a student of political science, or someone with a degree in political science, and with emphasis in international relations.
Go ahead, sir.
Though I do not claim to know all, but let me begin first by acknowledging and appreciating our former Deputy Minister, Shoni Hen. he did exceptionally well. Exceptionally well. Let me say this: honor the principle of national sovereignty and honor the international principle of the observance of state sovereignty. When you cast a vote at the United Nations on a resolution or whatever the meeting, that vote is counted as a vote in total. That English simply means it can be undue. All right, you can undo it. So that identical vote that we cast, it holds. The only problem I'm finding is why the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is not educating the president perfectly well. And the president shouldn't have said so. That is the reason why the damage is being caused. Because when the president said peace, the cessation of hostility in the name of ceasefire is only to meet up with certain benchmark or requirement. It is not peace in itself. So it is not an end. It is only a means to an end. So when you see the United States saying that they are not going to vote against it, they are going to vote for the continuation of military action by Israel in that place, it is because they understand that the ceasefire in itself conclude peace. So the president, being a person of peace, we appreciate, but the foreign affairs should educate the president, Mr. President. It is not about the peace as you may be defining it. And therefore you may be breaking a state image on international diplomatic scrutiny.
Okay. Thank you, Plato, for your contribution. Let's move on to this other person. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Max Tyre.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning to the peace-loving people of Liberia.
Welcome.
And more especially District Number 2, Margibi County.
Welcome.
My alphabetical compartment remains Jasor Falakwenikilo Dimio Afum from the Catholic Belt.
Okay, go ahead, Jasper.
Thank you very much for the show, Max Tyre, and thanks to former Minister Shanayan, who enlightened the Liberian people. But I'm a little bit disappointed when the president comes out to say he does not know, or it is not to his knowledge, he never gave that approval. How did it happen? Was there any consultative meeting here? Was there any board meeting here? Was there any diplomatic affiliation or with other people, or they have consultative diplomatic meetings that we have to come with this type of decision? You know where I put Liberia? You know where we stand? And more especially, he just won that award of peace. How can this be? Max Tyre, look at the 35,000 of the alien permit cards. He said he doesn't know about it. How is the government running? Are they reporting to him? Is he having oversight responsibility? What is happening, Max Tyre? The president would not be saying that.
Thank
that
you.
Is an affront to the Liberian people.
Thank you, Joshua. Those are good questions, but I don't have answers for them. Let's move on to this person. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Matthias.
Good morning, sir. Let's hear you.
Morning.
You're live. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Lincoln.
Lincoln T. Lincoln?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Make your point.
Yeah, there's something in communication called synchronization and uniformism.
Synchronization and uniformism.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think what is breaking down in this administration is what I'm there alluding to. I mean, talking about the president is the head of the foreign by virtue of the Constitution, Article 57. So everything that is done in the building with does on the outside Liberia, the president didn't know. The president cannot tell us. The president cannot tell us he's not aware. That's not true. That is part of reality. If he tells us that he himself is not on top of things as president, if the president well, no one are going to check to swear to be swearing people. Then do a recall. Or that particular individual that signed on behalf of Liberia on the negative. It should be made not to do that. But I don't go behind a public ground, baby ground, and God will put in that person. No, it doesn't make any sense. Thank you very much.
Well, you don't speak to the president of the state like that, all right? Well, we understand that words are meant to be used, and in the context you use them, sometimes they may suffice, but let's watch our environment and communicate to our leaders in a much more responsible manner. Well, call us on those numbers, 0777 777 107, 0777 777 107, 0777 221 223 are the numbers you can call us on to participate on the program this morning. It's suffice to say, Julius, please kindly put your namesake on here. Julius T. Jason. He's a prolific writer from my alma mater. Yeah, but let's hear from you, more people on the program this morning. Call us on those numbers: 07777 07777 are the numbers you can call us on to participate on the program this morning. Let's hear from this person. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Julius.
Yeah, thank you, Matthias Labandi. Good morning to the peace-loving people of Liberia.
It's been a long time, Julius. You have a minute, but let me ask you quickly. Are you back in country now? Because you're calling me direct.
I've been in the country roughly, I think about 11 months now. Yeah, 11 months.
Well, that's bad of you anyway. But go ahead, make your point on the subject matter.
Yeah, okay. My little contribution to the discussion, I don't want to believe in my rational mind that the ambassador at the United Nations took a vote on behalf of the Republic of Liberia without the consultation with the government through the Ministry of Affairs. I don't want to believe, and no ambassador the world over make a unilateral decision without consultation on the unanimous position of a country. What I want to possibly believe that happened, the ministry, because the ambassador, she or he sits at the heart of global politics. That ambassador who sits at the heart of global politics and see what is happening globally can advise the government, can seek the opinion and advice of that ambassador, and that ambassador can advise the government in terms of the position that the country should take. But that ambassador cannot go and make a unilateral decision without consultation.
So you're saying, Julius, in other words, you're saying that this is a last-minute blunder on the part of the government in general?
Well, it's a blunder, but what I want to believe is the ambassador at the UN did not make a unilateral position. I believe that the ambassador consulted the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs advised the ambassador in terms of the government position, and that ambassador voted.
Okay.
What I also want to believe is that possibly the Ministry of Foreign Affairs did not also seek the consultation of the president.
Okay.
And if actually they did that, and if actually the Ministry of Foreign Affairs did not seek the approval or consultation of the president and communicated to the ambassador, and the ambassador voted, that means they rely on the ignorance and incompetence of the president, because it warrants not just the recalling of the ambassador.
Thank you, Julius. Thanks for your contribution on the program this morning. Let's hear from this other person. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Matthias?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good morning, Matthias. My name is Ahmed Lami.
Ahmed Lami?
Yes, and I'm calling you from the 24th Street, in Club.
Go ahead, sir.
Why are you laughing?
Just go ahead, make your point, sir.
Okay, so in relation to the president, in relation to the president expressing anger with the decision being taken by the ambassador,
right?
Especially, whereas he went against the ruling from the government. I want to say this, and I'm being very emphatically clear. The president should not be annoyed of this. This is a doing of his officials. Those officials, they take decisions in their own domain without the consultation of their leaders. And you know what happened to them? Nothing. He just sat down up and then look at them. They do anything they feel like doing, and everybody goes scot-free. This is one of the reasons today President Weah is going to be called a former president by January.
The mayor is already living with that, my brother. I think he has already accepted that. And he's one of the first persons to accept it, and he's living with it.
He expressing his anger in that manner and then leaving it with God. And we feel that it shouldn't be something surprising to him.
Okay.
Because right under his eyes, he has officials who take a decision, in their own hands without his consultation or without the knowledge, and nothing he does about it. So then he just accept the result and move on. No need to say Alima want to go. If you cannot punish them before, you can punish them now.
Thanks for your contribution, see Halima on the call, right? But we'll be right back after this break. You're listening to 50-50 on Sky 107.1.
But when you won't hit me with your keke?
You get come, man. Let me drop you small. The way you just sweating, say.
Oh, look at it. My man, long time, but it also not easy. Oh, the way you trapping me, The Lola, you finish getting your reporting money for today. Oh, make sure you give me small tea.
Reporting money? That my own secretary. I've been depositing my money small at Ecobank Express Point. In fact, let me give you the G's. Ecobank about to do a raffle job very soon for people to win their own keke or the own pempe.
I understand. Oh, explain the whole thing to me about raffle draw.
Listen, my girl. All you have to do is just open your own Ecobank Express account or your saving account to be part of this raffle draw.
Well, I already got Express account. Oh, I was even planning set to open one savings account. So what's in now?
Look at her. Living are small. You do abu. You can deposit your money in any of them. Listen, any amount you get, just deposit it. You must have a minimum balance of at least $5,000 Liberian dollars or USD $50 in your own account to be part of the raffle draw.
Okay, so I can go to my deposit now.
Easy. Tell me a deposit at any Ecobank Express Point across the country.
But not bad, oh. In fact, just drop me right to that next junction, yeah. They got one Ecobank Express Point right there. Let me go deposit a small money while I get in my purse.
Indeed, Ecobank is here for all. Just visit any express point today to make your deposit and stand a chance to win your own keke or your own pen. Terms and conditions apply. Ecobank, the Pan-African Bank.
Another new thing I got again. Ecobank, I feel bringing you enjoyment again. This is a mission that we already accomplished. Yes.
After being in the business for more than 20 years, Uptown Garage has all it takes to make your car work best for you. Uptown Garage has brought in all sizes of new quality tires. We also have the efficient and long-lasting Uptown batteries. Uptown Garage has also brought in a state-of-the-art 2022 upgraded diagnostic machine that can easily detect any problem with your car. Don't worry, we can fix it for you. Is your car having any electrical problem? Well, Uptown Garage has a professional electrician from Ghana who is up to the task of programming and solving all of your car electrical problems. Uptown Garage is at the intersection of Broad and Nelson Streets with the Uptown Spare Parts Store on Broad Street side. We have our garage and new showroom at Rehab at the junction of President Weah's residence. For original spark plugs from Japan, oil filters, engine oil, and everything you need to get your car working perfectly, come to Uptown Garage. We give 1 month warranty. We also provide a tow truck free of charge if we are the ones to work on your car. But we can also tow your car anywhere for a fee. Contact Uptown Garage head office on 0777 553317 or 0886 553317 or our rehab branch on 0770 902865. Uptown Garage, your 100% Liberian owned, is here to put a smile on your face.
Welcome back to the program 50/50 on Sky 107.1, and this is how we draw the curtains on today's edition of the program. But let me quickly bring you the comments from our social media users that take off time to always watch us live here and drop comments, thereby promoting the page. Let me say good morning to David Boker. David said, good morning, my Sky FM family. Long time. I am following from Newark, New Jersey. Let's hear the latest news from Mama Liberia. Ayuba Critical for Sikh Kaba says he's following from Clara Town. Stephen Toba is following. Ramsey Stubbornfield says he's following from his research center in China. David Booker says, so Mr. President, you can only face the nation or speak to your people only in your church during church services. And then somebody responded, Stephen Sla said, he has all rights to speak anywhere, the same way you have all right to say what you have to say. Max is concerned about the writings that are coming like a subtitle. So you have to just switch that off if you're watching, because this is not our makings. Facebook program it this way. So they're not pronouncing our words properly. And it's not that. Maybe our English is not, matching the Facebook criteria. But yes, you just have to turn off the subtitle. Crisco Bemba Masale said this, I can mention the word he mentioned here. He said this can lie. He said the president can lie like hell. Were you not presiding over the affairs of the country when a lot of innocent lives were lost and you refused to do anything about it? So Victoria Wede Tape responded to Stephen Sla, said, don't mind them. They will all be going to jail under the so-called rescue train. Max K Mixer said, it doesn't even work like that at the UNGA. You vote today, then tomorrow you change your mind. This man is funny. All right. Crisco Bimba said, this alone tells you that this president wasn't in charge of his own government. Thank God the Liberian people voted him out. This country would have been damaged both locally and integrity-wise. We is the worst that has ever happened to Liberia as president. Gina Davis said, thanks for making available news for the listeners. Just a little advice. Wear your headphone professionally. Too bulky. You could flip the band from the top of your head to the back of your head or neck. Might be less visible than the top of your head.